Did somebody say flashback? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. It is episode 8, season 1 of From. This one is called Broken Windows, Open Doors, and I think it's fair to say that this was a heavy featured Boyd episode, but also a heavy featured flashback episode because it showed Boyd arriving at the town, it showed Boyd integrating into the town, and it kind of showed Boyd taking leadership and being the one that was most likely to save the people in the town. It showed that he was the first person to venture off into the woods. He was the first person to find the talisman. He was the first person to find supplies, find livestock. It basically showed here that this place, before Boyd arrived, was a shithole. And while it's not great now with Boyd there, it's still not ideal. Everybody still wants to go home, but this place is a lot better and a lot safer with Sheriff Boyd than it was before Sheriff Boyd. Is that fair?
Yes, that's very fair. Makes you wonder how people like Victor have survived for so long. But then again, he did know about the faraway trees, so maybe he's knew about them a while. Maybe Victor just couldn't be arsed bringing a goat back. Maybe that's Victor's problem. He'd rather just pack out his lunchbox with peaches rather than a wee goat.
Possibly.
But you know what, I think it just shows you, right? See, people that are military, man, you can just tell here, this is good acting, how you can go feel like... You see initially watching...
He wants to make something happen, you know, he's not content just sitting back. Alright, we'll just...
Yeah, but see, initially watching the show, you might just think, fuck, maybe this guy's just the guy that took control, but you could clearly see here, in this episode, that him, and maybe less so his wife, were in the military, and they were, like, up for the task, and then his wife's arse kind of went.
Yeah, you can kind of see when... Father Cassidy's looking at him for 5 minutes, and he's like, yep, this is the new leader of this town. This is the man that we need.
This is him.
So it appears before that it was almost, would you say, like a joint thing between Father Cassidy and Donna?
Yeah, and then Boyd came and went, this is my town.
This is my
time
town.
is now.
However, I don't know, I would argue before Boyd got there would have been no colony house. Now, it might have existed as a house, but you wouldn't have had people staying there because there was no talisman.
Yeah. Literally, so, it would have been just sitting in the ground.
Now, I don't think we see how the two grounds come to, the split happens. I don't think we see that, but I think it's fair to say it must happen after.
I think we'll see how that happens. I would say that would happen after a defining moment in this episode, but we'll get to that a wee bit later on.
Possibly. So, rather than just try and work our way through this, it was heavy flashbacks. So, what we're going to do is we will review all the flashbacks first, in chronological order, and then we'll move on to the present stuff, because like I said, I'm not complaining because I like flashbacks, and I don't think every episode can be like this, but I certainly don't think there's any harm in having one episode like this a season. Plus, it was actually nice to see Father Cattry in this episode, even though he'd previously just died in the one before.
Yes, and also I feel like these sort of flashbacks, especially in a show like this, explaining how everyone else got here, is good.
Yeah,
but for example, though, I don't think you can do this with every character that's here.
No, it has to be a bit important.
Someone relevant.
Yeah, we don't really.
If this was Nathan, maybe Nathan Sarah are a wee bit more relevant. But see if this was like,
let's say Trini, and she's she's arriving with her pillow in the passenger seat. I mean, do we really need to see that?
No,
I don't think so. But we start off the episode with Boyd, his wife, and Ellis. They're showing driving about town, and the first thing I noticed straight away was it was a lot darker when they were getting here. So they must have been they were almost one of the unlucky ones that arrived at nightfall.
Yep. And also, I think Ellis's demeanour here, he just looks like the kid in the back.
He does.
Compared to what he is in the actual show, he just feels a bit...
He seems to have changed a lot. Boyd is talking about his retirement and how he wants a boat and how they could work on the finances, how they could make it happen. His wife, Abby's like, is one of the finance options not to pay it? Because that's basically, the only option that she's willing to take. Boyd's like, well, it would help me. It would be a good retirement gift. It'd help me transition. And she's like, no, it's not going to happen. She then is looking for something in her bag, and she takes out something and says, here, Boyd, can you hold this for me? Boyd then holds it, and he looks at it, and he's like, is this boat keys? He gets excited. He's like, did you buy the boat? And they're like, yeah, we bought the boat. So after basically teasing Boyd and pretending that they were not going to buy the boat, they bought Boyd this boat, and we see these boat keys throughout the series, so maybe this is why we are, Boyd is so hell-bent and holding on to these keys.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to know how close they were to the boat, even though the boat's probably a completely different location to where they are, but maybe, I think these keys will play a big factor at some point.
Well, when I originally seen them, I thought it was the keys for the box.
Yep, and it's no for the box, it's for Boyd's boat.
Does the box even have a lock? It would have to, wouldn't it?
They had a padlock.
Could he have taken... maybe I'm just making this up, but could Boyd have taken the boat keys and put the
Another set of
box
keys
on? When he first went to put Frank in the box, he lifts these. But could it just be that he doesn't want to put Frank in the box, so he's trying to think of his wife? Or could it be, like we see in this episode, he knows what he done to his wife, therefore he has to do the same to Frank?
Yeah, that's probably what it is. That could be it. Or maybe it's just... Maybe it is.
Although we could argue his wife was much of a bigger threat than Frank was.
Yeah, Frank was just an idiot. His wife, big threat, Marine.
We see them getting into the town. It's like there's written on one of the barns, "Save us." And they're like, "What the hell is this shit?" We then see Father Catry. He runs out in front of their truck, and Boyd's like, "What the hell are you doing? You're trying to get yourself killed." He's like, "Look, you got to believe me. I know you're not going to believe me. I wouldn't believe me, but you have to listen to me. We are going to die if we don't get you out of this car and get into a hiding spot." We then see Abby pointing a gun at Father Catry. She tells Boyd just to drive on, and as Boyd goes to drive on, we hear like these screeches, these like screams from the monsters coming out into...
No, I noticed though, it wasn't actually that dark here. It was turning dark, but we've seen them outside way darker than this. So maybe...
No, I don't think they were out yet. I think maybe they were screaming as like a warning thing.
Could be.
Because they used to... Remember, they did mention that they don't screech anymore once they found the talisman.
Maybe.
But maybe this screeching was like a warm-up thing. Maybe when they were getting ready to commit to the dark, this was
the main event.
Could be. So they hide underground. It's basically like a trap door with like fake grass on it. It's a good hiding spot.
No,
the only problem is if the monsters find it, they know what it is.
Yeah, that is the only thing. Like, there's not even an escape route. It's literally, see if the monsters lift this up, you're dead.
Yeah, you are fucked. So they get out, and the first thing Boyd sees the next day is all these dead bodies, and he basically knows now, look, this isn't a trick, I'm not being fooled here, Father Catry isn't some insane priest, there's literally monsters killing everyone. And straight away, Boyd starts showing leadership skills, he starts breaking things down, says we're all going to work together as a community, we're all going to do things and pull our weight and try and find a way home. Boyd then asks Father Catry about the forest and do they live there during the day. Father Catry's like, we don't know, no one's ever been brave enough to go into the forest. And
may as well be the navy guy that goes in.
Boyd's like,
army.
Boyd thinks they should go in and have a look and then have it investigate, but Father Catry's like, good luck finding volunteers willing to do that. So we see Boyd, he starts going in by himself and he starts finding things. He finds a goat, which he seems very excited about.
Yeah, a wee bit overexcited.
I found a goat, guys. Look at this. It's a goat.
It's a goat.
So Boyd brings the goat back and he gives it to Father Catry. He's like, look after this goat. But Ellis is like, look, Dad, I think this place is beginning to get to Mum. Maybe you need to stop going out there and let someone else go. But the problem is no one else is willing to go out, really. Even though Boyd has discovered that it's safe during the day, we don't really see anyone else willing to go out into the forest, so it kind of has to be up to Boyd to do this.
Yeah.
Now, at this stage, Victor might be going into the forest, but
we don't know that. Alice doesn't know that.
We don't see him, and I don't think Victor. I wouldn't say Victor's a team player. He's a bit of a loner, so I mean, even if he does go into the forest, it doesn't. I don't feel like he's going in there to look for things.
He's going in there to look at lunchbox material.
Yeah. So what else does Boyd find when he's in the forest?
He finds a dog.
He does find a dog. Does he not find all stuff though?
He found chickens.
He found supplies, didn't he? Like materials.
Aye, like random materials, yeah, but he finds the main event a wee bit later on.
Alright, so he finds a dog and he tries to chase the dog. The dog runs away, and we seen that he was in the forest. He was like marking the trees with arrows so he wouldn't get lost, but when he chased the dog, he did get lost. And all of a sudden...
he gets like disorientated.
Yeah.
And then he starts hearing voices, and then he gets absolutely confused and like mumble-jumbled, and then he's trying to make his way back.
But it's getting night, it's getting dark, and he sees the monsters, and he's backing away from the monsters, and the monsters are closing in on him. He seems to trip, and he falls through this hedge that takes him into like a what would you even call this? Like
opening a cave.
A cave, like a little mini cave with a bush as a door. And then we see all the monsters come up to the bush, look through the bush, but they don't come in. They just stare at Boyd, and then they give up rather easily. I thought maybe they would have just stayed there until... stayed there the whole night.
which would have been really creepy.
looking at Boyd.
How fucking shite would that have been?
But fortunately for Boyd, they don't. They just walk off, and Boyd doesn't know why. He gets up, he looks around the cave, and he finds this talisman on the cave, and he lifts it off. And at this thought, I thought, what's he done? That's him dead, because they're going to come back. However, it turns out the cave is filled with talisman, and that is how Boyd was essentially
He's found this new technique that's going to keep him alive, potentially.
So he groups up all the talisman, he gets them in a bag, and he rushes back to town. But when he gets there, he hears gunshots. Bang, 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 bang. He doesn't understand what's happening. He sees some dead bodies. Then he looks and he sees Abby. He's like, Abby, what are you doing? Abby's shooting people. Abby's like, this isn't real. And she's like, the fact that you were out all night and you've came back, that proves this isn't real. But she was killing people anyway, so she obviously was committed to the fact that it wasn't real.
See, this is a bit extreme here. You know what? Probably the most shocking thing of the show. I mean, I can accept deaths, like Big Father died last episode, but I did not see this. I thought his wife would have just died. But then, the whole reveal of her being a Marine, this is way more fitting than, oh, she got caught outside and she just died. I feel like this was like more of a Marine.
PTSD or something?
By PTSD, the war thing kicking in, she's just dropping people left, right and centre. But realistically, right, even if Boyd gets her to put down the gun, she's getting killed.
Yeah.
What can happen here?
Back here there is no box.
But what's the end game? They would be banished for the town.
Did the box get invented for this, because of this situation?
Probably. I mean, she drops about 6 people.
I'd say more than that. She's about to drop Donna, but
she drops about 6 people that we see.
Yeah,
before
Boyd's
that.
like, no, I can't. Don't do it. And she's like, look, none of this is real. It's okay. This is all going to end soon. Then Ellis runs out. She raises the gun at Ellis. Ellis shouts, "Mom, don't do it!" And before she can pull the trigger, we see Boyd basically just shooting his wife, killing her dead. And now we know why Ellis is so resentful against his father Boyd, because he killed his mom. But
it's a bit stupid, because she literally went on a murdering spree. I get maybe initially if he was aware that she was pointing guns at people. I don't get why Ellis had such a problem with Boyd, honestly.
And if Boyd didn't do it, Ellis wouldn't be around to hold a grudge.
I know. See if Boyd just turned around and said, "Yo, I'm sorry I killed her," but see, at the end of the day, you'd be dead if I didn't. So how about you know your role and shut your mouth, jabroni? I don't actually get Ellis's problem. To me, I'm a very big fan of this show, but Ellis's resentment and hate towards his dad here makes no sense. I get it, right? He's got to put the guilt somewhere, and I understand that to a degree, but this is ludicrous. How can he honestly fucking blame him for this?
Yeah, I don't get it. We then see...
The only thing you could maybe blame him for is why didn't you pull the trigger sooner? Because I guess by the time he arrived, she'd killed maybe 2 or 3 people while Boyd was there.
I don't think that's what Ellis is going for.
No, that's not what he's going for. But if you tried to spin it that way, you could maybe see it. But no, I'm not buying it.
I think, if anything, I think Donna could be angry and say to Boyd, "What took you so long? She had the gun drawn on me."
To be fair to Boyd, maybe he initially got there. He's thinking, "Fucking, she's shooting monsters." Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But then again, they don't come out in the day, so...
I know, but maybe... It's a weird world.
It's a weird world. Who knows what could happen? Did we cover everything with the flashbacks?
That's pretty much it. I mean,
or is that it?
She did... the mum, his wife, did say that she saw this similar sort of dream when she was 6. But what is this? Is she just went insane, or is this to actually do with being a Marine and PTSD? I'll be intrigued. I don't know if it's going to be in go into deeper, but I felt like this was a fitting flashback, and it was a really good flashback, and it makes sense looking at the 2 characters that we got.
It did. In the current world, we go back, I guess.
It's the aftermath of the night before.
Yeah, Boyd.
Absolute massacre.
Yeah, so everyone is... To sum it all up, basically the town folk, the colony folk are being moved in to houses with the town folk, and a lot of them are not happy about this, especially Jade. He's like, "Oh, now we have more people living with us," and he just doesn't want... And there's a big fatty, and they said a joke about we're going to have to go easy on the supplies, and I just thought it was weird with this big fat ass in the background that they brought that up.
Yeah, and then she was on about to him, but aren't you the guy that thought this was a big escape room? He's like, "Fuck you."
He storms off.
And then he goes, did you see, what's his name? Pedo?
Victor.
Aye, did you see Victor? Aye, he went chasing after the...
He dragged the Matthews girl
into the forest.
Then we go to the Matthews house and they're like, Julie, how did you escape the colony house? What happened? She goes, I was in Victor's room. And it was like, holy fuck, Victor's just been...
It sounds bad, that. And then she's like, aye, then he took me into the forest. And Jim's like, can it get any worse? It was me and
I tell you what, is Jim ever actually going to go up to Victor and apologise? I've got a feeling if Victor sees Jim, he's still going to be pissed off him.
I know.
But we'll find out. But someone he is pissed off with is Boyd. Boyd comes bursting into the house and Jade comes bursting into the house and Jim's finally had enough, grabs him, throws him outside, like, don't you come in, my daughter's just been through hell. And he's like, alright, okay, I get it, you're being a protective father, but I need to talk to you. But Jim basically shuts him down before saying, look, your plan worked. And now Boyd and Jim know that they got static. It's not great, but they know they got something. They then go to speak to Donna. They ask for permission if they can build on the colony house. Donna's like, yeah, whatever. I just lost 14 people last night. Do what you want.
Yeah, and I think that's the colony house out of commission for a while. Don't many people are going to want to live there, which is fair enough. But again...
Yeah, then we see at the diner, people are trying to get in and get all the supplies. The barman, whose name I cannot remember, but the bartender's like...
He was a teacher, he was a smart guy, apparently.
Oh, yeah, he was a smart guy. All these colony house people are trying to, steal... They're trying to take all our food, they're trying to take all our supplies, so we're going to go in here and get them fast. And there's a big argument, and then Boyd kind of tries to, like, look, we'll settle this, we'll stop this, we'll work something out. Then Boyd is telling Kenny that you need to step up now, I need you to be the man. And then we see Kenny essentially tell the town folk, look, we're going to get through this together, we have to work with each other, not against each other.
We're going to do it.
Yeah, we are going to do it.
We're going to do it, Kenny. And Ellis is sitting in his wee hospital bed in the clinic and Boyd says, well, you know what, Sarah, I've got one wee thing I've got to do before we go on this magical adventure together. And he basically tells her, I thought he was going to bury Ellis here for being like a moody wee bastard.
I thought he should have laid out the truth. It's like, what happened wasn't my fault. But he basically just tells Ellis, look, you're always going to be my father. I mean, I'm always going to be your father. You're always going to be my son.
And I'm proud of the man you become.
Yeah.
Rhymes are sick.
Even if you're not proud of me.
Wait, I know what? How is he proud of the guy? Well, right, he can still be proud of Ellis' son, but what? He's disowned you for something like this? I mean, I understand why he's saying it. It's the final farewell, but I feel like Boyd deserved a wee bit of comeuppance here.
He did. Boyd then leaves. He tells Christy, I'll see you. This is not a goodbye. I will be back. Arnold Schwarzenegger style. Then Boyd goes and meets up with Sarah, and he's like, right, that's us. We're going into the woods. I'm taking you with me. He's still not happy with Sarah. He's like, look, try anything, and I won't hesitate to shoot. He also explained earlier in the episode that Father Cattry died and that he's dead and that loads of people are dead because of Sarah. So it's obvious that Boyd doesn't trust Sarah.
Which is fair enough.
And she's like, look, you can trust me. I won't do anything. I'm not going to run away. Which she didn't, because earlier, like, when he hid her in this, like, hut thing, she could have left. There was nothing for him to handcuff her to, but she stayed.
Yeah, she did, and she stays in here for a wee bit longer because Ellis has followed Boyd to the forest, and it's time to reveal that I'm sorry.
Well, it's Fatima. Fatima first approaches Ellis and says, look, you need to go and speak to your father, or else you'll regret this for the end of your life.
That was fair enough for Fatima. Probably the best thing she's done all fucking season.
Right.
And then, what's he do? He goes in, one-winged angel. Goes into the forest and basically doesn't break down, but he admits he was wrong, and I had to place that guilt somewhere, and I placed it on you. I'm sorry. And then, like, I thought this relationship was healed, it's mended. And then when he spots Sarah, I was like, fuck, this Ellis guy's probably going to go off on one here.
What you doing with her? It's like, hey, I need her. She's important. She hears things. Boyd then explains to Ellis that he will explain everything to him when he gets back. But right now, he needs to keep Sarah alive, and he needs to take Sarah on this journey with him. That's basically it. Then we see him going back to the house. That's it. He goes back to the town, and Jim is in the town. He's explaining to everyone about how the radio tower works, and he needs the town people to help him build this tower on the colony house. So we get that.
Really? Should everyone not have general knowledge about how a fucking radio tower works? He's like fully. He's explaining how we're going to put it on the roof. We're going to transmit past these.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, did he really? He dumbed it down, like.
And then the episode ends with the wee boat song that was on at the beginning.
Pony on the water.
And Sheriff Boyd then ventures off deeper into the woods with Sarah by his side.
Where's Victor? Didn't see Victor.
That is the end of the episode. We didn't see Victor.
Victor did.
Is Victor still... Wait, we did see Victor. No, wait, we didn't see Victor, so maybe the faraway tree took him somewhere else, or maybe he didn't make it into a faraway tree, or maybe he is dead, I don't know.
Maybe they just took the lunchbox and spat him out.
I don't think Victor would have died off screen, though. I think he's a pretty important character, so I'm going to say Victor's still alive.
I think he'll bump into the two amigos in the forest next episode.
Maybe Victor will bump...
a wee packed lunch.
Yeah, maybe Victor will bump into Boyd and the three of them...
Maybe Boyd hoovers pizzas off him and all the big camping gear he's got.
Could be. Anyway, it's time to rate this episode. I thought it was very different. It was a unique episode. It wasn't like the rest of them. I know the rest of them, I think there was a couple of flashbacks in some episodes, but I mean this was a heavy flashback episode. So I mean it was kind of like split into two.
Yeah. I liked it. I did like this episode. I don't think it's as good as the last one, which got an 8.5. I'm going to give it a 7, and the only reason I'm giving it a 7 is because I would give it an 8, but Ellis holding this resentment to me is a bit stupid, and also his wife going on a murdering spree. It's like,
you said that was realistic.
It was realistic,
and you liked the twist, and you weren't expecting it, but it makes sense.
But I still think there is flaws. I think there is still a couple of flaws with it.
What?
I would have been good to see his wife's downfall rather than like, here, you should probably stay home, Boyd, and the next day you should fucking murder him.
I know, but how much time do you want him to spend on that? Like, really?
But
do you know what I mean?
Ellis could speak to her. The only thing we seen was her going, I saw this when I was 6, yo.
Well, I thought they'd done a good job of that. You know what?
Did a good job.
I'm going to get an 8. I'll get an 8. So,
right, 7.5.
7.5 guys out of 10. That is it. We'll catch you for the next one. Episode 9 is called Into the Woods. And that's exactly where Sheriff Boyd and Sarah are going. We'll catch you in the next one. Until then, though, peace.